I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Johanna, will you read the statement of compliance?
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the annual meeting notice was sent to the press of Atlantic City, Star Ledger, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, the municipal website, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk. Please turn off all cell phones.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joanne, I don't have a pack. You don't?
Welcome, everybody. Johanna, will you please take the roll?
Sure. Mayor Collins?
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg?
I am here.
Commissioner Horn? Here.
Chief, would you like to begin with the FMBA, or do you want to wait? Okay.
Get started whenever you're ready.
All right. We are going to begin with our 2025 FMBA scholarship presentation.
That's you, Danielle. Talk loud. Well, we'll see, but just give a little rundown.
Okay.
What do you got?
So we have 8 this year, I believe?
2, 4, 6, 7.
7, okay. So William DiLorenzo.
So just to give a little background, the scholarship's called the O'Hara McCormick Scholarship. It started as one of our firefighters, Kevin O'Hara, passed away from leukemia, and the FMBA started a scholarship in his memory back in the early 2000s. At some point in time, the McCormick family made a donation substantially to the FMBA to increase our scholarship fund. Therefore, the scholarship fund became the O'Hara McCormick Scholarship. And each year, the FMBA picks Margate residents who go to schools in our area to provide this scholarship to. And it's a great opportunity for the FMBA to give back to the community and give back to our students who represent the city in a great position. So now you're good.
Okay. William DiLorenzo.
William here? Okay.
No, you're not in the way.
Okay.
Some of the kids couldn't make it. They were either leaving already for school functions or work. Brooke Swift. No? Okay. Christopher Garabrand, I know he wasn't able to make it. He's attending West Point, so he's already there, right? Yeah. Lauren Fox. Nope. Busy kids this year. Sienna Eden. Oh, she is not able to make it. She's working. I got a phone call from her mom today.
Well, Ava, we'll get there.
Ryan Cook. No. Working.
I'll take these.
Okay.
And here you go.
Oh, hi.
Here we go.
Here's Brooke.
Who we got?
Ava Katona.
Who we got here?
Brooke Swift.
Come on up, Brooke. You know what? Just to make it clear for everyone, I hate to put you guys on the spot. You give that to Brooke. Why don't you just give us a little background on where you're going to school and what you're going to major in, so everybody can know what your plans
You're
are.
the 2 highlights here.
First, I want to thank Margate City Firefighters for the scholarship. I'm going to Nova Southeastern University, and I'm majoring in biology for pre-dental. I also want to thank everyone for the scholarship, and I'm going to Clemson University, and I'm still undecided as of right now.
And I have one thing, so we had summer CCG camp, and one of our service projects, the kids made 90 cards for the fire.
Oh, thank you so much. Awesome. Thank you very much. And that's it. Thank you, girls. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.
And good luck in school. We hope you have a great year
Thank
and a
you.
great
Thank
start
you.
to the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
congratulations to Ava, Brooke, and all the other recipients. And thank you to the FMBA. All right, we will begin with our engineering report. Ed?
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. Okay, starting off as always with our dredging program, we do have some updates. As indicated at the previous meeting, we are pursuing an alternate dredge disposal site. We had previously indicated that that alternate site was going to be the Gateway CDF in Pleasantville, and we are pursuing that. In fact, we're scheduling a meeting to visit the site with the NJDOT, who has control over that facility. In addition to that, we're also going to be pursuing a second site that we can attach to our permit. Right now, we're looking at the Tuckahoe Turf Farm, which actually has an approved dredge disposal site in Estelle Manor. You can attach multiple disposal sites to your permit, which gives some flexibility for anyone who's going to be doing dredging under that permit. So we're pursuing both on a parallel track. We did send our sampling data over to both entities. The DOT has already given us a favorable reply that they are willing to let us use the Gateway CDF site as a disposal site. We do need to work out some details with them, which is part of the reason why we want to visit that site, to kind of work out some of those logistics. And we sent our sampling data over to the agency who manages the Tuckahoe Turf Farm site also to get that process started. So we're making really good progress there. And just to remind everyone, the DEP has confirmed that this is the last step in getting our dredging permit. Once we have a letter of acceptance from a disposal site, they will issue the permit. So really good progress there. And then I believe I reported at the last meeting that on the Shelter Island front, the DEP did get back to us and tell us that they were not going to require any additional biological studies, which was a major milestone for us, so we can actually move forward with the permitting process, which we're in the process of doing. And we're continue to partner with the Stockton Coastal Research Center to assist with that permit application, as there will be ongoing habitat considerations and things like that as part of that Shelter Island process, which would be our long-term disposal site. So after some time, kind of in a limbo period, we're making progress kind of week by week on these two items, and happy to report that we're getting close. Item C is the Washington Avenue Streetscape project, which has been a topic of discussion over the past couple months, I suppose. We did a public presentation in April. Since that time, we've had multiple meetings with interested property owners, business owners, stakeholders of the project, both internal and kind of external from the city, just to continue to receive feedback on this project. We have gone through several iterations of design revisions on the streetscape design. And just to kind of summarize where we've landed, the original concept that we presented at that public presentation included a two-way bike lane on the Longport side of Washington Avenue one-way from the beach to the bay. And where we are now, again, after feedback from our police and fire, as well as business owners, stakeholders, we have revised the design, still one way from the beach to the bay on Washington Avenue, one bike lane heading towards the bay on the Ventnor side of the street. So it'll be more of a, I'll call it, traditional setup with a one-way street, one-way bike lane that would tie into the one-way street and one-way bike lane on Amherst Avenue. So that's where we landed with the design revisions. Again, I thank everyone that's provided input, and I continue to receive phone calls and interest in the project, and I'll meet with anyone and talk to anyone about their thoughts on the project, so I continue to encourage that. We have submitted the revised design to the NJDOT for their review so that they can authorize us to proceed with the bidding phase. But again, we've gone through a process of public outreach that I think was beneficial to the project. Item D is the Amherst Avenue Pump Station project. We are working with the Green Acres group to obtain our diversion to utilize the Amherst Avenue Waterfront Park parking area, essentially as our site for the below-ground pump station. We've gone through several rounds of comments with DEP Green Acres, so we've made good progress there. And we got to a point where we were comfortable submitting our revised location plans to DEP and Army Corps, since it seems like we're heading in a good direction with that site, for them to give us their jurisdictional determination on what permits, if any, would be required from those offices for this project. So we're making some good progress there. We have a couple contract awards on for today. We received bids a couple weeks ago on a number of projects, and they all came in within or under budget, which is great news. One project is the next phase of Winchester Avenue, which is our 2024 state aid project. That project is being awarded to Asphalt Paving Systems today. The 2024 road program, which also came in within budget, is also on the agenda for award. The lead service line replacement project, which we've been talking about for some time now, is obviously going to be a major effort, and there will be a lot more public outreach to come on that project to educate the public and engage with the public on the process that we'll need to go through to implement this work. Just to refresh everyone's minds on this, this is a state-mandated program and really a federally mandated program that every local utility has to replace existing lead and galvanized water service lines, both in the right-of-way and from the meter to the house. So even on private property, we are required as the local utility to ensure that that happens. We went through the engineering process and the funding process through the New Jersey I-Bank, who is the primary funding agency for this type of work. And we did receive bids on this project that came within budget. We are awarding the contract to South State, or it's on the agenda to award the contract to South State. But the real headline here is the I-Bank has various funding programs that you may or may not qualify for, depending on a number of factors. It was kind of coming down to the wire for us on what program we might qualify for. We were not anticipating any principal forgiveness, which is essentially a grant. The funding that we were kind of lined up for was a loan, an attractive loan package. I think it was, 50%, 0% interest, whatever it may have been. But we did go through a review process with the I-Bank. They have a criteria where if you have a service population of 10,000 or less, you qualify for up to $1 million in principal forgiveness, so up to $1 million in a grant. They have a super secret formula that they use to figure out what your service population is, and the maximum service population that you can have to qualify for the $1 million is 10,000. And when they plugged all our numbers in, it spit out exactly 10,000. So we qualified for a $1 million principal forgiveness grant. We can't let anybody move into town until we're done this project, but that was excellent news, and it was unexpected. So it was good to hear that, and we actually just closed on that financing yesterday, I think, or today, whatever it was.
Yes.
Right? So
Confirmed.
really good news. So we're going to move forward with that project. But like I said, this is going to be a high-impact project, so there will be a lot more public engagement, public meetings, public outreach, mailers, websites, all kinds of information available to the public as we move forward with this project. Next up is the Public Works Building. We'll be scheduling a meeting soon to kind of touch base on that, where we are as far as the design and budget. The Ventnor Avenue parking lot project plans have been submitted to the Atlantic County Engineers Office for review and approval, so that we can have that project lined up for construction after the season. The Atlantic Avenue Bike Lane project, we did receive bids on that project. We do have some time here because that work isn't going to take place until after part of Atlantic Avenue is repaved on the next phase, but we did want to get the bids secured. We do have a grant on that project. We wanted to lock in some pricing and some material. Those bids did come in under budget, and they actually are going to be fully funded by the DOT grant, which is great news. So that'll be an award at some point in the near future at one upcoming meeting. Item K is the next phase of Atlantic Avenue from Huntington to Mansfield, which is in the design phase. That's the part that we need to pave before we do the green bike lane painting for the rest of Atlantic Ave. Likewise, the 2025 road program is in the design phase. We've been working with the DEP on our MS4 stormwater compliance, and we have a plan on how to hopefully satisfy the remaining comments on that front. So we'll be working with the Public Works Department on that. Our CRS compliance, we're just discussing that our recertification is going to be not required this year, so it looks like that'll be a next year event, but it's always a lot of work, so we're going to continue to work on it throughout the year so that we're in a good position once the recertification rolls around next year. The 2026 state aid applications are due, so we're going to submit for the next phase of Winchester Avenue from Brunswick to Belmont. No updates on our pending, no updates on our pending grant applications, although we are waiting to hear back on our Bloom Pavilion grant funding for the deck at the Bloom Pavilion. Jump into our construction projects on page 3. No updates under maintenance bonds or closeouts. The 2023 road program is on a pause for the summertime, and then we'll pick back up with work on Nassau, Bayshore, Fredericksburg, and Argyle in the fall. The basketball court project is, I don't believe, complete yet, but we are in progress there. The Thurlow Avenue project is in punch list phase, as is the curb and gutter program, and also is the municipal building office renovation. So all three of those projects will be moving into the closeout phase. Our walkway replacement over at the Sigrib complex is substantially complete. We're just working on some punch list items there. Our restroom building at the Sigrib complex is in construction. The pickleball courts are done over at the municipal complex. And then lastly, the building demolition for the parking lot on Ventnor Avenue is complete. So that site's been completed or demolished, tightened up, and we are scheduled for June 30th for Exxon to get in there and begin their work to take the tanks out and the contaminated soil. So all of that is being coordinated with their contractor, so we can keep moving on that front. And that is my report.
Great, thank you, Ed. We'll now move to our department head reports. Chief Adams.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I just want to say thank you for the three of you for attending our event last night. The fire department held their annual open house at the Margate Library. It was a great event, well attended. All the kids had a great time, and I have to give a special thank you and shout out to Margate Dairy Bar and FMBA Local 41 for sponsoring the refreshments for this event. But everybody had a great time, and it was a good event. We have our July 4th fireworks. The City of Margate and the Margate Mothers Association team up together. They will be Friday, July 4th between Granville and Huntington Avenue on the beach, and the first shot will go off at 9 p.m. I left some paperwork up here on some summer safety tips, some grilling safety, and fireworks safety if anybody's interested in this information. I will say this about grilling safety. Be smart. Make sure you clean your grill. Make sure it's ready to be used. Make sure you keep a safe distance from your house or any combustible materials. Some people feel that they can put them right up against their vinyl siding, and the outcome usually is not very good for them. So just use common sense and be safe. If your grill is dirty and it keeps catching fire on the bottom, it's time to clean it and be prepared for that. There's all different types of grills that are used: propane, natural gas, and charcoal. So just be careful. If you use a charcoal grill, make sure that the coals are actually properly disposed of, which should be in aluminum or something of that nature, so they cannot create a potential fire. Some people just pour them right in the trash can, and we've had fires related to that. So if you have any fire-related questions regarding anything with grilling safety, feel free to reach out to us. But again, this information is up front. The Beach Patrol is in full swing. They actually will start Saturday. They will start the after-hours program where we will have lifeguards on duty for emergency response team until 8 p.m. They go full swing starting, is it tomorrow or Saturday, Commissioner Warren? I believe Saturday, right?
Yes.
That all beaches will be open and protected as of Saturday. And if you have any questions for them, please feel free to reach out. But again, we can't express it enough. Only swim at guarded and protected bathing beaches during bathing hours, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And make sure you're never out there alone. If you do swim at other times, make sure you always have somebody with you and be prepared for any potential situations. Thank you and have a great summer.
Thank you, Chief. Lisa?
Good afternoon. I've already shared with the commissioners what I want to report, but for the public's information, we did receive our 2024 audit report prepared by Suppley Clooney and Company. And again, there were no findings in this report, which is excellent news for the city of Margate. As you're aware, the governing body has to accept the audit by resolution and affidavit, which will be on the next meeting's agenda for authorization. And if it has not already been, the report will be posted on the city's website. In addition to that, we had an exit conference with the State Comptroller's Office in regards to our lifeguard pension plan audit. We have not yet received the final version of that, so that cannot yet be released. We're anticipating to receive that report in July. But I would also like to state publicly that Margate was one of 12 entities who were audited to have no recommendations. So that's a big win for the city.
Other than that, everything is good, just busy as usual in finance. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Hankinson.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. First off, since Memorial Day, I think we've all noticed that we're already seeing midsummer crowds in the month of June. We've been very busy at the police department. In fact, to this date, we've had almost 8,600 calls for service since the beginning of the year, so we're seeing an uptick in our calls over the time frame since the beginning of the year, especially from 2024. And part and parcel of that, we've seen various arrests for a lot of offenses. Our summonses for ordinance violations, we've kicked up a notch this summer. We've already issued 32 summonses for public urination. So like I said, we've heard the complaints of the residents around some of the areas, so we've really stepped that up this summer. And I can tell you from many years of doing this, 32 summonses for that offense at this point in the summer, we've gone years without doing that many. So again, we've really stepped it up along those lines. We've had a lot of motor vehicle stops. We've participated in a lot of campaigns recently. We've had over 1,100 motor vehicle stops already up to this point in the year. So again, we are out there enforcing the motor vehicle laws, especially with something I was going to allude to later, but especially with the influx of low-speed vehicles. Just a reminder to anybody who enjoys them that they have to follow the same rules as your regular motor vehicles, especially buckling up of the passengers. We've seen an increase in people driving the low-speed vehicles and an increase of people not using seat belts, especially when it comes to young children. It's still car seats, it's still booster seats. It might not be the safest place for younger children, but again, just to reiterate that. So again, we're really having that press right now, and partly, hopefully this press has actually shown a little bit, because even our motor vehicle accidents in town, we've seen a decrease from a small number. We had 73 at this point last year. We have 63 this year. So we've seen a decrease in 10. So statistically, that's pretty good. So hopefully everything we're doing is making an impact. On June 12th, I just want to let the mayor and commissioners know I testified in front of the executive board of the New Jersey State Chiefs of Police Association as the final step of our accreditation process. I am happy to report we were unanimously approved for reaccreditation, so at least we can be one of the accredited agencies, and it's our 4th time for reaccreditation, so it's a big feather in the cap for the police department. It's something I'm very happy about. This Saturday is Beach Stock. Just to remind everybody, there will be some parking notices along Atlantic Avenue around the area of the library and Huntington Avenue for parking for the event. It's always a great event, but again, there might be a little bit more traffic, so again, please take your time, watch out for pedestrians. And along the lines with pedestrians, I don't know if anybody has seen, but we installed some high visibility signs along Ventnor Avenue reminding drivers to stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk. It's a little extra reminder, especially with the summer season where people are crossing to go to the beach. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Roger.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Planning Board meeting tonight. Following this meeting at 7 o'clock, 2 cases are on board. Zoning and planning have been very busy. Of course, with the influx of people, you also get the influx of complaints. Some of them legitimate, some of them not, but been very busy zoning, planning, purchasing, and even flood damage prevention. So but it's all good. The city's really humming on all cylinders. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Palma.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. The Building Department continues to process permits and inspections steadily. Many construction projects are nearing completion, so we've been actively communicating with contractors of what prior approval requirements they need in order to get a CO for people to move in. I've also been working with Roger over the last month to develop a more efficient and consistent process for floodplain development reviews, and that's all I got.
Thank you. Pat.
Thank you, Mayor. Busy as usual in Public Works this time of year. We're going to be busy this week, obviously, with the beach stock. We got about 80% of that set up already. We had 2 emergency sewer repairs, 1 manhole collapse, so they got completed today also. And for the July 4th weekend, we'll have 5 extra porta pots on the beach. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott.
Well, I'm very happy to advise you, Mayor, and I know I recently today had you sign the deed. We've finalized the process for that sale of that strip of property, 1,756 square feet along the Osborne Avenue beachfront. I think maybe Lisa, can you confirm, did we receive the 227?
I was not in the
227,000?
office today, but I did
you were not.
provide the wire instructions
Right,
to
right.
Jack yesterday, so I can confirm it with you
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Well, the attorney for the buyer emailed me that they sent the wire to the city today. So now that's $227,000 plus we will hold the deed in escrow that you've signed. And what is going to happen now, and Ed you'll be involved with this, they have to rebuild our street end at Osborne Avenue plus their own bulkhead. That's 165 feet of bulkhead, plus a new handicapped access, off the beach, and a new stairway. So it's over $500,000 to the city, total benefit. And this is for a piece of ground that was between a bulkhead and a property line, very narrow, we've never taxed on it before, now we'll be taxing it. So it's a real win for the city. It was a long process to get there because Green Acres took a position, it was on our Green Acres list. But we got it off the Green Acres list, and now we got it subdivided, and now we're moving ahead. And I don't know, did they get their foundation permit? Did we give them it? Even better. Okay, so we're in good shape with that one. I think that's about it that I have. No, I think that's it, Mayor.
All right.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Pat?
Sorry, I've been involved in a little bit of everything, mostly personnel issues. We have an open position in our utility billing, as a utility billing clerk. We're presently accepting applications and resumes. I'd like to congratulate our finance department on the audit. They do a very good job there. And the one thing I did want to point out, the auditors supporting the resolution where all employees' compensation be authorized by the governing body. I thought that was a good backup to a resolution that you guys passed a couple meetings ago. That's all I have for now.
Thank you, Pat. Johanna?
I have nothing to report tonight.
All right, thank you.
Mike, I have a couple of things. First, for Ed, thanks for the report on the Washington Avenue streetscape. And I just want to let everybody know that's out there and listening that this is going to be a big change for a lot of people in town, and really for everybody in town. And I think there's still a lot of people that aren't aware of the fact that we are making Washington Avenue one way from Atlantic down to Amherst. In that regard, I think we should get on the front page of our website, big change coming, and get it out on social media, on all our social media platforms, that we're going to be doing this. Because I think there's still a lot of people that have no idea that we're doing it. And I don't think we want to be, inundated by this when it happens. I want to be able to say we did our very best to educate people on what we were considering here before it's too late.
And Commissioner, I can provide updated color renderings of the project that you can post on the website to go along with that so everybody sees exactly what we're proposing.
Again, I think it's that important, and this is just my opinion. Big change is coming because it is a big change. The other thing is, I wanted to ask Pat, we've been discussing a landscape change ordinance that bans backpack blowers and then subsequently will ban gas leaf blowers. And I wanted to see I wanted to discuss and see what the status of that is. I don't personally want to wait and go through the entire summer while we continue to investigate what the landscapers may or may not think about this. So it's my request that we discuss it, and Pat, you can tell me more, and that we let's get it out so that the public knows. We put it out, we put the ordinance out, we put it out on first reading, and let the public have a chance to comment. Before we go, we've got some 30,000 people that come down here in the summer, and they shouldn't have to listen, in my opinion, They shouldn't have to listen to the backpack blowers, and they shouldn't be subject to the fumes and the annoyance of them. So, Pat, do you have a status on that?
Sure. We actually kind of looked at the ordinance, prepared a couple of different variations. We were trying to abide by I keep calling it the state, but it's not accurate. David actually provided us with a document, Sustainable New Jersey. Sorry, I'm a little forgetful on that. Just trying to follow what that document is kind of put out there as far as making notifications, trying to include people. I think one of the concerns that was out there was that doing this midway in summertime could possibly cause a spike in costs for residents and non-residents who get their stuff done. I spoke to the other two commissioners, and they can kind of give you their aspect of it.
Yeah, I can add to that, Pat. So as he mentioned, we obtained guidelines from Sustainable Jersey, and I think 3 key points that I take from this is, number 1, the first thing they say is engage with landscapers, and we're doing that. So Pat reached out to the South Jersey Landscape Association, has not heard back. We have started compiling a list on our own to try to engage with the people that currently operate in Margate. Second thing is establish a mechanism to help the landscapers transition to electric. Again, takes time, something we need to do. And the third thing is to make provisions effective at some point in the future to provide property owners and landscape businesses time to transition smoothly to new equipment and approaches, generally within 1 to 2 years after passage. So given that, and given those guidelines, the discussions we've had are, it's not something we're going to do immediately. It's going to be something that's going to be effective in the future. It would not be effective for this summer season regardless. So Pat is going to take the time, again, next week, he will begin his full-time tenure. He will be able to focus on this and many other things that he hasn't been able to. And we will get moving, and we feel confident in that approach. Anything else, Commissioner?
Just that, again, I would like to see the ordinance put forth so that people could come and comment on it. And there is no South Jersey Landscapers Association activity in Margate. There hasn't been for many years. And the idea is that, again, it's a quality of life concern, and we seem to want to kick the can down the road and do, outreach to maybe 5 or 6 landscapers that have backpack blowers. And you may or may not be aware, for many, many years, from 2007, I want to say, to 2022, backpack blowers were banned in Margate, and either via a clerical error or us revising an old ordinance, they somehow got put back in. There was never any public discussion that, hey, we need these backpack blowers back. There was never a landscaper, at least not that I was here. Now, again, I don't make every meeting, but there was never any public discussion that said, hey, we got to have backpack blowers back. It's killing us. It never happened. It just fell into a revision of an ordinance when we were making some other changes. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but again, I think we should give the people we should put the ordinance on, get it for first reading, let people come out and comment on it, and then if it doesn't pass, it doesn't pass. At least we've done what we promised, that we were going to try and improve the quality of life for our people here in the summertime. That's all I have. That's my opinion.
Okay. All right. We will now move to public comment. If anyone has any comment on anything discussed in this meeting only, please step forward, state your name and address.
Hello, everyone. Stephen Baglivo, 9600 Atlantic Avenue, Unit 713, Margate.
My question's in reference to the new parking lot that's being done on Ventnor Avenue. And my question is, will the city be complying with 175-26, specific design standards, section L, streetscape, as delineated in our city's writings for that location?
So there is a park element, streetscape element to the design. So in that regard, would be consistent with other streetscape projects throughout the city.
So we have more than one street, we have one design, or we have multiple streetscape designs in the city of Margate? As an example, on Washington Avenue, in a previous meeting, it was stated that you will not be installing the tree rates that are delineated in the standards for that project. And I don't understand, we either have guidelines that we follow, or we don't have guidelines that we follow. It's very selective. What is the guidelines for the streetscape?
So I think that you're referring to the land development ordinance, right? Is that what you're referring to?
I'm not sure
Land
if it's
use code,
code or, yes,
sounds like.
probably 175-26.
So that would apply to land use projects that come through the planning board. When we do our streetscape projects, there's a streetscape design that we've used over the years, and we continue to evaluate, and it's a project-by-project basis, I guess I would say.
That's not what this states, sir. It's not a project-by-project guideline. There's specific guidelines that were developed so it would be uniform in the commercial districts of Margate.
Right. So this is
My project fully complied with those standards. And my specific question is the city of Margate, for our new parking lot, going to follow the specific guidelines of this standard?
I can't answer that question today. I wasn't prepared to answer that question.
You would be the normal person to answer that question, sir?
Yeah, Ed is preparing the plans, so that would be an answer that Ed can get back to us.
Okay, how about the Washington Avenue corridor streetscape? Will the city be providing tree grates as per the standard written?
No, tree rates are not included in the project.
Who authorizes that change from the written delineation of what should be installed?
Yeah,
Why
I
don't
mean,
you reach out to Mr. Baglivo
Yeah.
and you guys can discuss this?
Yeah, I think we're mixing two processes. This is a city capital project versus a land development project that goes through a different process, so.
I don't agree with that totally. I mean, there's guidelines that say commercial areas need this required products installed, streetscape products. And all I'm asking is the city itself complying with those written guidelines. It's a yes or no. So far, my opinion, it's a no. You're not installing the tree grates on Washington Avenue, so we already know you're stepping outside of the written guidelines.
yeah, I believe that answered your question.
Okay, so you'll be in touch with me?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So what are you in favor of? Do you want grades or not?
I want the same thing that's
You realize
written.
we have the power to waive that we don't have to do that if we don't want to, part of the site plan process.
I don't agree
But
with
I'm
that.
curious to see if you like them or you don't.
I think the board and zoning delineates what people are to do or not to do. And we have written guidelines that should, the
But your
public,
property's
like
on a
myself.
county road. This isn't Washington.
Well, county road, county calls for you to provide them a hold harmless letter, which is common. That's how Starbucks and everybody else has this streetscape.
Well, we're certainly going to
So-
take a look at it.
Thanks, Scott.
Take a look. Maybe we will use grades, or maybe that standard should be.
So my ultimate question is, do we follow the written guidelines, or is it selective and we
We'll
change
take
it
a
as
look
we
at it.
want to?
We'll have to consider all the factors.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Steve Giesecke, Margate. With what you said, Commissioner Blumberg, about the leaf blowers, I'll be a happy man when that takes place because I'll be happy to sit outside and not have to hear that noise and be able to do my online Zoom sessions. I do agree with you that we can't do this suddenly because the landscapers, a lot of people, there's a lot of money that needs to be invested in this to switch over. What I can say is that maybe messages should go out to these landscapers, letting them know how much it is disturbing the public and how loud they are. Because sometimes 2, sometimes 3 of these leaf blowers are being run at the same time. And I want everybody to pay attention to what's going on. I mean, it's loud. We have become accustomed to noise. This has become a very noisy city. We not only have this buildings crushed being down and then the pilings going up and then the generators running and power washers running, but it is time that we do need to get back to being a quiet community if we can. And I think the community would be very grateful when we could start moving forward with this. And I'll be happy to come up and talk with any one of you guys about this. And Pat, I'll be talking with you if we can come up with some solutions. Okay.
Yeah, I think, so Steve, everything you said is 100% accurate, and additional guidelines, part of the guidelines that we were sent from your team, it's 13 pages of recommendations, and another one, and it's a key thing, and we talked about it with the microplastics, it's education, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not just passing a law and enforcing it, it's educating the public about what the effects, why we're doing it, and all of that. So I think, that's a big component. We'll certainly reach out to your team for help with that. And I think as, again, we engage with these landscapers, you guys will have a seat at that table so we can, we want to engage with both sides of this and educate them and discuss it. So we'll be reaching out certainly for feedback and cooperation from you as well.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Diva Minter Margate. I'm also a member of the Green Team and a member of ATL New Jersey Advocates for Transformational Landscaping. And Sustainable Jersey definitely advocates prohibiting gas leaf blowers. And that is one of the recommendations that we reach out and communicate with our landscapers. But also our allegiance isn't first to the landscapers. They would never want that to stand in the way of our improving the quality of life and the public health hazards that the gas leaf blowers cause. So I think that, what Commissioner Blumberg suggested, that a gas leaf blower ordinance is created, that it is put up to the public to start educating the public and educating the landscapers, which are part of the community. And basically this is for all of our good. In terms of the cost, other communities that have implemented and successfully enforced the gas leaf blower ban have shown that it's at neutral cost, and that right now I had emailed all of you about Cherry Hill Township. I spoke with Ari Messenger, who is the manager of operations and risk at Cherry Hill Township. And they have implemented an e-pilot program with their Department of Public Works. And it has exceeded all their expectations. They're going for 0 emissions for their landscaping equipment. It's exceeded all their expectations at neutral cost. So this is the operations and risk manager. Princeton has done it, Maplewood has done it, South Orange and Montclair, and they have found that it is very cost effective for them, and reaching out and educating the landscapers as well as the community and your constituents is really essential. But that's one of the recommendations, but that cannot be the block to moving forward on this. And I think a gas leaf blower ordinance would be in order, and we did have one on the books because I have a copy of it, and then it just suddenly disappeared. And in terms of enforcing it, Maplewood, New Jersey has a program where citizens can videotape the landscaper and then send it to the city hall. And instead of informing the police, and then, and also I know the code enforcement officers are very busy as well. But we don't want police cars rolling up on these workers who are probably just working, 40 hours a week and for someone else, and to frighten them, but to inform them of what the ordinance is. I also think that all landscapers, just like contractors, have to get registered and permitted. And when they have that permit and that registration, for them to get the guidelines that we have put forth for the good of the community and for the quality of life issues. And that really is what your administration ran on improving the quality of life. And you have the power right now to do that. I think you will have the support of the community, and we've seen it working in other communities very successfully. And they see that we know how beautiful Princeton is, we know how beautiful Montclair is, and we also know what Cherry Hill looks like. And if it's exceeding their expectations, why wouldn't it be as good for us here? I think also when, we are hiring these landscapers to work. So just like when you hire a contractor to come into your home and they tell you they're going to work with materials that have asbestos or are flammable or have lead in them, obviously you would not want that in your home because of the health risks. And it's the same way I feel about the gas leaf blowers. It's not only the noise, but it's the particulars and the toxic emissions that they leave behind. The gas leaf blowers have no catalytic converter like cars do. There are no regulations, and there are very toxic emissions. It's the dirtiest engine out there, and they're getting worse with every generation. So I have, which I have one for everyone here if they would like it. It's gas-powered leaf blowers. Why are they so harmful, and what can be used instead by ANJAC? And excuse me, they have like statistics here, which I've mentioned already, but the hydrocarbon emissions produced during 30 minutes of work with a gas leaf blower are equal to the emissions of a 3,900-mile drive in a Ford F-150 Raptor pickup truck. So you multiply that 30 minutes of use. We have gas leaf blowers going 6 days a week, 8 hours a day. Those emissions, the toxic fumes that we're receiving, our plants, our animals, our children are receiving, and it's really unnecessary because there are alternative solutions, and companies like Ego, they actually will come out and train people on how to use the equipment. They are commercial grade, as Cherry Hill is using with a lot of success. So I really don't see it, if that is the stumbling block, if that is the barricade, that you're reaching out to landscapers and they're not getting back, or you want to get in touch with them. I think that really isn't justifying what we all have to go through. I can't even sit in my home. I close the windows when they come by and do their work. So that model of the blow, trim, or mow, trim, blow, and go is really outdated, it's outmoded, and it's unnecessary. And we have alternate means and better means and less expensive means to do that. When the truck leaves, the particulars and the toxins that are in the air when you go out in your yard, when you're eating outside, when you're riding your bike, when you're walking your pets or strolling your babies or your children are playing, those stay in the air for 24 hours. And you think how many are descending on our city every day, every hour. So I hope that you will make this decision, which is really in your power, and get the gas leaf blower ordinance out there, inform the public, let them know what we're doing, why we're doing it, and I would love to give all of you one of these pamphlets. And really, again, I have friends who are landscapers. I could think of 4 people, and I really like them a lot. And I really care about them, and I want them to have a successful business, and I also care about their health. So this is a win-win situation for everyone. Just like the contractors had to comply with attaching vacuum things, onto their saws, change is happening. Big changes are happening on Washington Avenue. And we really have to get with the programming and see what other communities are doing it. And people will understand. It's really nothing new. So that's it. May I give you all one of these, please? And of course, I have other resources besides what I personally know. Mayor Nancy Adams from Maplewood has spoken with Pat and with Commissioner Blumberg. And also Ari Messenger from Cherry Hill Township is also available to speak, and and we will work with you and support you. But I definitely support the gas leaf blower ordinance immediately. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just add, I know that we had looked at this ordinance, and one of the suggestions coming out of the clerk's office was that we actually take out because it's been a non-compliance thing, that we take out the registering of landscapers with the city. Is that something that Commission would like to comment on at this point in time? If we do that, we will not have direct access to a list of landscapers. But to be transparent, I know that that's one of the things that's proposed to be taken out of the ordinances for that to be registered, for those folks to register.
I believe we need a landscaper registry, so one way or another, whether the language in that is altered or not, I think that's an important part of the communication with this group of people. So,
Why would we not require them to have a mercantile license? Didn't they used to have to register and obtain a license to work in Margate?
We did it for a while, but then there was such an influx of new landscapers and gypsy landscapers, it almost seemed unfair.
Roger, how do they
charge
do it in
some
Ocean
people.
City? Aren't they required to register in Ocean City?
I'm not sure about that, but they used to have, everyone that did business in Ocean City had to get a mercantile license.
You couldn't go over the bridge without a license in Ocean City.
They'd stop you dead in your tracks.
yes,
Makes
I
sense
think
to
that's an
me.
important component to.
Doesn't have to be a lot of money, but they should have to have a license. That's my
It was never
opinion.
something that was done when I took over office. It had been done away with for a couple years. If you're looking to go back to it, we'll figure a way to start that out.
I think, can I say something, Mayor?
Yeah.
I think what happened years ago, because I used to be a landscaper on the side, I used to get the mercantile license for the city, and what happened, I think, is the New Jersey State Community Fairs, or whatever, they wound up having this home improvement contractor. So that sort of like took over the landscapers had to register for this home improvement contractor's license. So I think the city started like stepping away from it. I think that's what happened. I don't think it was like sort of supersedes the city, so I think they just stopped doing it. I think that's what happened.
Okay.
Because I stopped doing it, so I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
All right. Thank you.
You might want to look into that, the home improvement, if that's covered under that or not.
Yeah. Either way, I still think we need a record for
Yeah, I'm just-
for Margate. So, okay. Thank you.
Hello, Sherry Lilienfeld. I'm a full-time resident of Margate and an active member of Sustainable Margate. Just want to talk very briefly, promise, about the gas air landscape blowers. I think you all agree that it's a good idea and we need it, yeah. It's just a matter of implementation. And when I stood up here talking about the contractor, as you mentioned, Mayor Collins, the contractor construction dust, you said we needed to do education. However, what you did was, which was great, you did a resolution and then you did an ordinance. So I would love to see an ordinance, and I think that's what we need, but maybe like get a resolution out there and start the education, because I'm not seeing the education, and we've been talking about this. So just a thought, I mean, I don't know if Commissioner Blumberg.
I would absolutely support that.
It just because we're talking about it and surveying and put something out there and make it a resolution and start enforcing that. I know you can't do fines, but you could start educating through that, and that's all. That's my only suggestion, because that is what you did in the other situation when we need an education on an important situation for community safety and the environment. So,
Thanks, Sherry.
Stephen Altman, 9003 Amherst Avenue, Margate. I'm just curious, one of you, I'm sure, can tell me, whether you use a gasoline or a electric or whatever kind of leaf blower, where do the leaves and the grass go when you're blowing them? They're not being raked up, are they?
So they're required to dispose of them, grass clippings, leaves.
So they blow it into a pile?
To a pile, and then, yes.
They get,
That is what they're supposed to do, yes.
that's what they're supposed to do. I just have never seen anybody except blowing it onto everybody else's lawn, just out of curiosity.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. All right, is there a motion to close public comment?
My name is Barry Sherman. I live at 9510 Amherst Avenue at the Margate Mariner all year long. I want to thank the mayor and the, excuse me, the director of public works for coming out last year, and you helped us a lot. But that hasn't stopped the problems from this year.
So Barry, this is going to be for the next meeting, public comment. This is only items discussed in this meeting.
Oh, so but we'll be able to speak.
You'll have an
today?
opportunity at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'm sorry, thank you.
That's okay. Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for having us. My name is Mike Edwards. This is Billy Kern and Gary Brick. We actually don't reside in Margate, but recently we held a charitable nonprofit baseball event at Margate's Field, and basically we're here tonight to express our gratitude and say thank you. We worked with Andrew Miles, Joe Marciani, and JJ Stops, and we just wanted to come kind of give them a huge shout out for what they do. We're with an organization called Down Beach CVC. We raise money for high school baseball players that have been affected by cancer either themselves or through their families. We were able to, in our event in Margate, raise over $50,000 for high school athletes and the American Cancer Society and the local Gildas Club. So that's all I have to say. I'm going to turn it over to Billy Kern, who is our vice president of our organization.
I don't mean to cut you off. This is another that has to hold off till the next public comment. I hate to do it in the middle, but just a few minutes as we.
These off for you guys. It was just for the three.
Yeah, appreciate that.
We were guests and we had nowhere for the event to.
No, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, no worries.
Hi, Peggy Montemuro, Washington Avenue, Margate. And my question is, I came in late. So my question is the project on Washington Avenue. Okay? I saw it, it looks nice. But my question is the flow of traffic, even with the one-way and the parking situation. Will there be any considerations for, say, jitney service or anything because of the congestion going that way, especially in the summer months, to Amherst Avenue?
So, I mean, I'll let Ed take over, but the plan as it was presented here a couple months ago has changed significantly, and we made basically all feedback based on congestion, vehicle maneuverability, things like that. They were all key components of our changes. I don't know if you want to give a quick synopsis of the changes.
I was just going to say, so, and we're going to post this on the website, the new pictures of what it's going to look like.
Okay.
But what you probably saw was the original version where there was a big wide two-way bike lane and kind of offset from the parking lane and a 12-foot drive lane. That's been changed, and now there's just a one-way bike lane on the vendor side of the road. So there's a lot more room in the middle of the street. It's not like you saw it on the original presentation. And the parking is going to be where it is now, right up against the curb. But it's it's easier to just look at it on the updated plans. We can get those posted, right away. And then, you can contact me if you have any questions about what we're proposing to do. But there's been significant changes, like the mayor said, in the interest of traffic flow.
Okay, good. I probably will call you. Okay, real good. I have one other question. The possible ordinance for the gas packs. How about the enforcement if you do provide it? Because I've noticed with other constructions, especially with things like fiberglass, nobody enforces the safety rules, and it goes all over into all the neighborhoods, especially the new construction. And now people who have been here a while are having it done again, and I'm watching it again. So I just want to know about the enforcement of the safety and health, especially now that the population is increasing.
Yeah, so the enforcement for any of these ordinances is a major component and all part of the process. And we have added new code enforcement within the last month.
Okay, that's
in
what
order
I'm looking
to
for,
try to tackle
additional
these
people to
issues.
go
Yes.
around. Because I do know you had a shortage, but with everything, and it is a health hazard. I've watched it with the construction around the city, especially on my own street. Okay.
Yes.
I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, Joanne Kennedy, 302 Pembroke Avenue, and I also have 5 units on 122 and 124 Washington Avenue. Just was wondering what the reasoning behind making one of the only two-way streets we have in Margate into a one-way, and especially one-way north, not south. I mean, I understand the other street is one-way north below, but making it people coming from, and the reason I said Pembroke Avenue, is all of us coming from north are going to head down Washington Avenue when you want to go shopping in that area. And now you're forcing access to another one-way street back and putting traffic out on a major highway to come back shopping if you're going to CVS. And I was also wondering why, with this being such a big project, anytime somebody has to do something in the area, I always get a notice if it's within 500 feet of my property. Well, this seems to me to be a really big change for those of us that, own property there and got no notice or, no interjection or what we could say about it.
So I'll try to answer each of your questions that you had there. So the reason for the one-way change is so that we can add a bike lane, reduce traffic, and make the corridor more pedestrian-friendly. So you'll have less traffic without the two-way traffic patterns, less conflicts for pedestrians, and so that we have enough room to add a bike lane to tie the bike lanes in from Atlantic Avenue to Amherst Avenue. The reason that it's one way from the beach to the bay is because the traffic going from the beach to the bay on Washington Avenue from Ventnor, between Ventnor and Amherst, is double what the traffic is going from the bay to the beach. So we're following the flow of traffic. That's the predominant flow of traffic is in that direction. And I think those were your questions that I can answer. I think that's it.
I'd like
More
to know what the
input.
reasoning behind it to even do this was for. I mean, why would there be such a change when you only have very few two-way
Yeah, so
lanes?
I can't speak to the exact history, but this goes back about 10 years. And with the master plan of connecting a corridor, connecting the bay and the beach. And this was part of a grant application that was, do you have any idea when we applied for that grant? About 5 years ago?
I think we first applied maybe 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay, so it's, it's been something that ever since that grant application 3 or 4 years ago has been discussed. Ed gives an update at every one of our meetings, since then. So it's always been on the engineer's report. We, the soliciting feedback from residents, obviously, when we had the public presentation at the April 17th meeting, I believe it was, or somewhere around there. At that point, we certainly got a lot more public feedback and posts, and Ed took
And another
the
thing that
majority of
just
those.
found out about it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Ed took the majority of those questions, complaints, concerns, however you want to phrase it. Ed and I both met with a group of concerned people regarding changes. We've made so many iterations to try to accommodate all of those concerns. Do we accommodate everyone's concern? Absolutely not. I mean, there's some people that, if you have a group of 200 people, they're all going to have a different idea of what works. So it was a combination of a lot of feedback and effort to try to come back with the plan that we currently have, which we feel is a lot better than the plan that you probably saw and was put forth.
Question, is it going to affect my taxes?
No, it will not.
That's good.
All right, is there a motion to close public comment?
Motion.
Second.
Mayor Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes?
Commissioner Horn?
Yes.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Mayor Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes?
Commissioner Horn?
Yes.